Hello everyone, I hope you're doing well and I hope that you have a marvelous day. I am here to do an intuitive card reading to see what insights, guidance, and messages the universe wants to share with us, especially in regards to letting go, taking our hands off of trying to force things basically, how we're conditioned by society to be so productive and to go, go, go. Learning to step back, to allow, to breathe, to trust the process, and not have to be so controlling. Because when we get into that controlling state, we can trip ourselves up and make things kind of worse for ourselves. So let's take a look at the cards and see what the universe wants us to know. Okay. So we have uncord relationships. Let go now. Forgiveness is freedom. And when it says forgiveness is freedom, that is basically just talking about your own internal world and how, when you're not forgiving someone, when you're so fixated on resentment, bitterness, jealousy, anger, hatred, all of those things, you're basically poisoning yourself and expecting the other person to die. And that's not how that works. You're just having all that inner chaos and negative energy on the inside. So forgiveness truly is freedom, but that doesn't mean forgiveness means that you are wiping the slate clean per se, and you're just like, oh yeah, you get more chances, come on in, and you invite them in. If someone keeps hurting you, keeps disrespecting you, they've shown you their true colors, you can forgive them, but that's not the same thing as reconciliation and saying, come on in, I invite you back in, we're going to have the same as before. No, you can love them from a distance, but part of this is just letting go. And it's like the let them theory. People are going to people. They're going to choose what they choose to do. You don't have any say in that. And so you got to learn to let them make their own choices, that maybe it would be better if they do this, that, and the other, but you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make it drink. So you got to let them make their own choices and walk their own path. And sometimes that means that there's separations and endings because you're going in two separate directions, and that's okay. You can learn to let go. You don't have to control it all. You're not the one responsible for it all. All you are responsible for is yourself and how you choose to show up in the world. That's the only thing you can control. You can't control these other people. Even if you think that would be for the best, would you really want that though? Would you really want to rob them of their free will? Think of it, if the roles were reversed, would you want to be robbed of your free will? Just something to think about. But we don't need to control so much. We can let go and allow and see how things play out naturally, because everything has a divine timing. And the universe knows all the components at play, so it knows how things are ultimately going to work out and how to get you to where you want and where you need to go. And it'll show you the people that are the most meaningful connections to share that path with. We also have Law of Grace. Be your divine essence, dissolve all in grace. So this feels like you're just kind of making peace with everything. Not that you're necessarily okay with everything in the sense of it's all going to your preference, but just being like, okay, what happened. There's nothing that can be done about what already happened. And being at peace with that, being at peace with where people are at their journeys, and being at peace on if you need to, go your separate ways, have some distance, have some space. And just being like, you know what? We're all human. We're all trying to do our best. We all can make mistakes. Doesn't mean you give people a free pass. You're just like, okay. And it just feels like you're just connecting in with the essence of your soul, like your divine spark, and having more of that divine love that is unconditional. And, the divine knows all that is, all that was and all that will be. And, the divine loves us all as the divine's children, so we don't need to, make things all fancy and be perfect. And the divine's still gonna guide us to where we need to go. So it's just maybe the best way to put it in a metaphor is taking our hands off the steering wheel and willingly going to the passenger seat so the divine can show us and lead the way. That doesn't mean we're not, having any participation, because we're, co-creating with the universe, but not having to be the one at the driver's seat all the time. And, you're still the author of your story, so you get to choose how you perceive things, the narrative you tell yourself, how you choose to show up in the world, even when people do you dirty. But it just feels like you're just more at peace and choosing to step away from the drama and the conflict and the chaos and be like, you know what? It's not for me. If you want to choose that, by all means, you do you. I'm going to be elsewhere. I'm going to be over here doing my own thing. That's really what lights you up inside. I guess have at it. Careful, because, you reap what you sow, but you know what? That's your choice to make. Because that's one thing that it seems like a lot of people aren't okay with is letting people make their own choices. They're so controlling. We have your personal unicorn. Bathe in pure love. Stay open to unicorn magic. So this feels like the pure divine love of the universe and the magic of the universe, that how it can work miracles out of the most darndest situations, out of the most unlikely of situations. It kind of makes me think of that story from the Bible with the loaves and the fish, about how there was just a couple and then they all managed to, feed the whole crowd with it. And so the universe can work its magic. And it's coming from a place of pure divine love, that unconditional love, true unconditional love. Not, what some people like to say is unconditional love in the human realm, because people's love can be very, very conditional. Have all these stipulations and requirements and restrictions, and it can be a hot mess. But it's different when it's that pure, innocent, divine love versus the messiness that can be human existence. But yeah, if you have an open mind and an open heart, that's when the universe can work its magic. When you're closed off and you think it's impossible, it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. You look for confirmation bias, and it turns into a whole mess. So be more open to things. Trust, have faith, keep the hope alive, because the universe can work it all into your favor. And it is behind the scenes, but it's about what you allow in, I feel like I say this all the time, but you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make it drink. The universe wants to give you all these blessings. It wants to work its magic and give miracles to you, but are you willing to receive it? Are you open to receiving? Are you open to allow it in to your life? Or are you trying to control and force too much? Are you closed off? It really does matter. Okay. We have Scarlet attracts success. And it just feels like you are attracting this success because you are learning to let go. You're learning to forgive. You're embracing that freedom, that grace, your connection to the divine, pure love, magic. You are connecting to a higher level than yourself, a higher energy, a higher existence in yourself. You're not trying to be the one pulling all the strings and making things happen anymore. You're learning to take some of that stuff off your plate and just hand it over to the universe to handle. You're just I have too much. I can't do it on my own. Please help me. And, it could be sort of like a divine intervention kind of thing, but the universe truly can turn molehills into mountains in a good way. Not like how a lot of people like to make big deals out of nothing. The universe can work it all into your favor. It can take scraps and make it abundant. So you're going to be getting a success because you're able to let go, because you're able to allow and trust. You're not having to do it all on your own and get into that rigid control state. And Rose, attract a relationship. This could be attracting new prosperous relationships, whether that be friendships, family members, a romantic relationship, business partnership, whatever it is. Like, you're attracting a higher quality relationship, higher level of energy that's like more of your frequency of, trust, faith, respect, kindness, love, support, honesty, integrity, all of that, because you are being more open, because you're being more allowing, it's coming in, and the energy you put out comes back to you. And so, if you're coming from this mindset of controlling and trying to force things and being rigid and inflexible, like, there's some things, yes, they're non-negotiables, you shouldn't lower your standards, but overall, if you're trying to control every little detail and make sure everything is just so and there's no room for anything else, that's the kind of energy you're attracting back to you. And so you're not going to have those healthy, prosperous relationships. You're going to have people who have that same kind of energy. So just be mindful of that, because it can turn quite messy. But in the end, a new start is coming. New moon. Because of you opening up, because you're learning to trust, because you're learning to co-create with the universe instead of having it all on your shoulders, having all that weight and pressure and expectation to deliver just on your own terms. It's going to be this whole new chapter. And I've been hearing this kind of messaging from a lot of people about, surrendering more, giving it over to God. I keep hearing people say, let go and let God. So it's just like, this is kind of the energy that a lot of people are picking up on, and it's going to work wonders for you if you can trust, if you can let go. Yeah. You and your loved ones are safe, New Moon in Cancer. Like, that's the thing. So often we get into those rigid, inflexible, controlling states where we have to try to force things because we don't feel safe, because we feel threatened, because we're like, oh, if I don't go to this job with this boss who's, trying to like coerce me into things that I don't want to agree to, and like calling me on my days off and all these things, like, if I don't do that, then, I won't have a job, or they're like threatening my livelihood. And if I don't have my job, then I can't pay the bills and I won't have a house and all these things. And like, the divine wants you to know, the universe wants you to know you're safe, you're cared for, you're protected, you're guided, you're nurtured, you're loved, you're supported, you're safe, and your loved ones. The universe has you covered. The universe has your back. It's not going to abandon you. It's not going to forsake you. It's not going to forget you. So learn to trust. Learn to give more over. Learn that you don't have to force things. Learn that you don't have to burn yourself out. Like, that's one thing that I've been learning in the more recent years, because I got, caught up in that mindset from everybody around me about how, oh, you got to do the grind. You got to just make it work. That's just the way life is. And I was working so many jobs and so many long hours, and like, I never really had a break, and it led to burnout. And we're learning we don't have to do that. There are better ways. And a lot of times we end up going down those paths because we don't think there's another way, because we think, if I don't do this, like, I'm in danger, my well-being's in danger, I just gotta do this. And there's nothing wrong with doing a job short term just so you have some extra income to, make ends meet. But the divine wants you to know, the universe wants you to know, that you don't have to keep doing that. It doesn't have to be your forever. There are better ways. It has your back. It's going to support you. It's going to work miracles and magic if you let it. But know you're safe. Know that you're provided for. Know that it's got you covered. Yeah. Look at the bigger picture, full moon in Sagittarius. Like, that's the thing. Especially in terms of like things like jobs. Like, I see it time and time again with my family. They think that they have to do all this stuff. They have to force. They have to like run themselves ragged. They have to stay at this job that they hate. Like, I couldn't tell you how many times my family has told me this company that they work for is killing them mind, body, and soul. And like, my aunt was like grumbling at my dad and complaining about like, I thought my big brother was looking out for me. He's like, oh, get this job, it'll be great. And it's like, I'm still stuck there and it's killing me and it's awful and I hate it. And it's like, we need to look at the bigger picture. Yes, it's important to have income in today's society, to pay bills, to make ends meet, to make sure you have food, water, a roof over your head, clothes on your back, that kind of thing. But is a job worth it if it is destroying your health and your well-being and your peace of mind, if you're miserable, if it's literally killing you mind, body, and soul? Is it worth it? Look at the bigger picture, because health is wealth. If you are literally killing yourself for this job, is it worth it? Are you able to truly live? Yes, it gives you money. Yes, that's great. It's important to have an income in today's society, but what's the cost? Is it worth it? Look at the bigger picture. And that can be said about, the people you associate yourself with. Because, I hear so many people say, I don't want to be alone. I hate being alone. I don't want to be lonely. I want connection. And yes, humans are social creatures. They need genuine connection and all that. But is it worth having the wrong people around you? Having the wrong people in your circle that just poison you, that smear campaign you and trash talk you and, backstab you and tell lies and deceive you, manipulate and, coerce you and all these things. Like, is it worth it? Look at the bigger picture. Is that actually serving you? Because speaking from experience, when I got out of that toxic group and away from the narcissist, I felt a lot better. And yeah, there are still times, because I was a decent sized friend group, there's still times where I'm like, man, I kind of wish I could go back, just because we had some good times and all that, and it was nice to have people to talk to and all that. But I'm like, at the same time, like, no, you don't actually want that. You know too much. Like, you saw what they were doing. You saw their true colors. Like, those little gem moments, they're few and far between compared to the nastiness, and it just got more and more prevalent. It's like, no. Look at the big picture. Yes, you want connection. You want that authentic, deep, meaningful connection, those kind of relationships, but those people aren't it. So you got to be careful and make sure you're looking at the big picture and not just like, oh, that'd be nice for right now. And it's just like, okay, but what does it cost you? Whatever it is, whether it's jobs, relationships, a home, like whatever. Look at the big picture, because it could cost you more than you realize and more than you want. And it can be quite messy. Quite messy. But yeah, the universe wants you to know that you have the strength to see this through. And with this card, like with the elk, it really feels like it's lighting up the way. And it kind of feels like a spirit guide, honestly. Like it's navigating you through the dark forest. And like, if you're in the woods and it's dark at night and like you have no source of light or illumination and you're in unfamiliar territory and you don't know which way to go, it can be terrifying. But the universe is here lighting the way for you, saying trust, it's going to be okay. And it just feels like the universe is coming in as your support system right now. It's like, hey, I got you. It's going to be okay. We have the strength to see this through, so keep moving forward. Trust, have faith, it's going to be okay. Yeah. The worm renewal, like, this is the universe saying, this is a new chapter for you. You are being renewed. You are being transformed. This is going to be a whole brand new you. You don't have to go back on your old ways. You can trust, like, the spring is coming for you. Like, it just feels very prosperous and full of life. And it really does feel like you're exiting this period of winter time. Here in the Northern Hemisphere, winter is just like the trees are barren. Like, everything is like settling down, hibernation, all that. And it's like, now we're entering the springtime. It's like, that's this new chapter. That's the energy. And so get excited. The universe wants you to trust, because when, we'll look at winter, it's like it can be very dark, very gloomy, very cold. It can be bitterly cold, and like snowstorms and ice and all that. And like it does have its beauty, but like people can get depressed in the winter. And if you didn't know and realize that the spring was on the other corner, you could be like, oh man, this is how it's always going to be. But know that your spring is coming. Know that your spring is coming. So the rat survival. And it feels like that's what the universe is trying to say. Like you were in that winter of your life. You were in that survival period where things seemed dark and heavy, kind of cold and just like barren. But you are entering the spring. You're entering this renewal. You don't have to be so concerned about survival anymore, because you're going to be able to thrive. And, it may not seem like it right away, but like it very much feels like you are the seed that's been planted. And so much is going on behind the scenes that you can't see. But before you know it, you're going to blossom and thrive. Yeah, abundance. Financial abundance and success are on the horizon. Stay focused and disciplined. Like, that's the thing. The universe wants to know you are attracting success. You're attracting abundance and prosperity. This is this new renewal for you. You're going to thrive. But you got to trust. Yeah. It wants you to take the step and like trust. Let go of old beliefs and patterns that no longer serve you. Prepare to step out of your comfort zone in order to grow and expand. That's the thing. There's so much expansion coming in, but if you don't trust, if you don't have faith, if you don't, willingly go outside your comfort zone, it's not going to happen. You can't have the expansion if you stay in your comfort zone. That's like a small fish in a tiny pond, but it's like there's this whole wide ocean. You can grow so much, you can learn so much, you can expand so much. Trust in your abilities and embrace opportunities for growth and expansion. That's the thing. You can learn, grow, and improve so much, but you gotta let go of the old. You gotta trust. You've gotta trust. Speaking about letting go of control, to relinquish control, I simply let loose and allow myself to be more childlike. That's the thing. So often we're told not to be like children, but in a lot of ways, children have this deep trust, and they enjoy life, and they can laugh so easily, and they can smile so easily, and they can just embrace all their emotions so easily. And we're taught that that's a bad thing, that we need to control our emotions. And to a certain extent, yes, it's important to be mindful of your emotions and to process them and to not lash out at other people, because, children don't have the emotional intelligence and emotional regulation most of the time. And so, that's not good for us to do as adults. But to be able to admit that we're sad, to be able to cry and be like, yeah, this is how I'm feeling, instead of bottling it up and trying to control, it's not going to do us any good. And that kind of feels like your expansion is like just being more true and authentic with yourself, and not trying to control like how you are in the world so much, if that makes sense. Like, you're not trying to like put yourself on puppet strings and be like, no, I gotta be perfect. I gotta have this perfect, facade, this perfect appearance. I can't like look weak or anything. It's like, no, you're letting go of that. You're letting go of that, and you're trusting, and you're not going to try to force things so much, like it's okay to be sad. It's okay to be angry. Like, your emotions are valid. That doesn't mean you get a free pass to, act out on those emotions if you're going to, be cruel to someone else, because that's the kind of things people have done to me. It's like, no, it's fine. It's like, no, you're allowed to have your emotions. I don't fault you for that. I don't fault you for being human. It's just, what I have a problem with is you being cruel and disrespectful and abusive and all these things to me. That's a hard no for me, When I move my body, I bust through all that blocks me from my true health and vitality. So this feels like it's kind of like a metaphor. It feels like you've been in like this stagnant energy, and you've been afraid to move because you want to be perfect so much. It's kind of feeling like energy of that perfect porcelain doll, where you just like have yourself up on a shelf and you're too afraid to move because like, oh, what if I make the wrong move? What if I upset someone? What if, like I end up metaphorically falling off the shelf and breaking something, like the porcelain doll? And it's like, no, 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 no. It's okay. You need to move. You need to take steps. You need to try things. Yes, you might make mistakes. Yes, it's not going to be perfect and it can get messy. Yes, you may stumble and fall. You're not going to do things perfectly, but that's okay. You can learn, grow, and improve. Just do your best and see what happens, because you're not going to be able to expand and thrive and grow if all you do is keep yourself metaphorically locked up in an ivory tower, too afraid to do anything, too afraid to step out of your comfort zone. True abundance is an inside job. And this feels like the internal mindset kind of thing, like the narrative that you're telling yourself, the beliefs you have, the thoughts you have, feeling worthy, feeling deserving, not telling yourself things are impossible, that, you're always going to be in lack and all this stuff. You don't need to do that. You don't need to do that. Like, it really makes me think about things that my mom has been saying lately about how everything goes wrong, nothing ever goes right. And it's just like, when you're constantly saying that and putting out that kind of energy and, telling that to yourself, to others, to the universe, it's like the energy you're putting out, the seeds you're planting is of all this negativity and things not working out for you. And so, yeah, you're going to reap what you've sown. The energy you put out is going to come back to you. It's like, do you really want that? Do you really want that? And abundance comes in so many different ways. Like, most people think abundance is, like monetary wealth, but you can also have an abundance of good health, an abundance of, genuine, meaningful, inspiring connections and relationships. You can have abundance of creativity, an abundance of, peace of mind. Like, there's so many different ways to have abundance. You don't need to limit yourself. So, it's also happiness and peace of mind are inside jobs. It depends on how you're choosing to perceive things, on how you're choosing to go about the world and show up. So what is it that you're doing to help yourself? And, part of this abundance is an inside job, is trusting the process, trusting the universe, having faith that it will not let you down, because it has your back and it's looking out for you and it's working everything out in your favor. But it can be easier said than done, and it can be kind of messy, but it's going to work out in your favor. It truly is. Yeah. Needle and thread, a sincere wish will be granted. And it's because you're making the shift. It's because you're learning to trust, to have faith, to have hope, to come from a higher energy level than, fear, doubt, worry, frustration, anxiety, all of that. Like, not that those emotions are bad, because it's all a part of the human experience, but you don't want that to be your constant. You don't want that to be your go-to. That you don't want that to be how you're approaching everything in life, because it will kind of be a self-sabotage thing. Your energy, the narratives you're putting out, like, you don't want that harvest. You don't want to be planting all these seeds of negativity, worry, fear, doubt, insecurity. You don't want to be planting those seeds and nurturing them every day, because when it comes time to harvest, that's what your crop is going to be. And it's going to be very disappointing. So be more mindful and intentional with what you're planting, with what you're nurturing in your garden, because your wish will be granted if you're willing to allow the universe to help you, to allow it to bless you and work its magic. Remember, you're safe. You're safe. It's gonna be okay. Yeah. Again, you're safe. Cobweb, protected from negative forces behind your control. That's the thing. That's why some people might leave your life, or certain jobs, or certain circumstances, or you might need to, move your home and not be in the same home anymore. Like, it's the universe protecting you. And it may not seem like it at first. It may seem like it's a horrible thing, but the universe is working everything out in your favor. It's protecting you. It's guiding you. It's supporting you and nurturing you so you can have the best life possible. So don't get too caught up in minor details because it is going to work out for you. And another unicorn. Use your intuition to make beneficial changes. That's the thing. Your intuition, your instincts, like your gut feelings, the energy doesn't lie. And that's the universe speaking to you. It's giving you signs. It's trying to give you insight and guidance to be like, hey, don't do that. Or hey, go there. And you may not have all the logic and reasoning behind it. And it may be confusing, but trust it. Have faith. Follow through. Take the step. Take that inspired action thanks to your intuition. Take the aligned step, It's going to have all these beneficial changes. Yeah. And it's going to lead to peace and harmony. You don't have to do survival anymore. You can have a prosperous, peaceful, harmonious life. Yeah, caterpillar. Things will not always be this way. A change is coming. Change is coming. Spring is coming. Abundance is coming. Success and beautiful, healthy relationships are coming. You're safe. It's going to be okay. You're being renewed. You're being renewed, and it's going to work out. Yeah, see? V. Victory in some endeavor. You're ultimately victorious. That's why the universe wants you to trust. That's why it wants you to keep your faith. Even when things look a little bit shaky, even when things seem uncertain, even when, it's getting turbulent, it's getting a little bit stormy outside, it's like, it's okay. You're safe. You're protected. You're going to prosper. Your victory is ensured. Success is guaranteed. You got this. You're heading toward abundance. But you got to trust. You got to have hope. You got to have faith. You got to learn to let go and allow. The saying, let go and let God. Hand some of it over to the divine. Let the universe take care of it. The universe knows all the components at play, so it'll probably work out way better for you too. But part of it is you have to trust the timing. There's divine timing for everything. If you try to rush things, it could get very, very messy and blow up in your face. Not because you're trying to make it messy and have it blow up in your face, but if you try to rush things before it's done, like let's say you're cooking, if you're trying to speed through cooking and you don't cook it all the way, you could get yourself sick. It could taste bad, like things can go awry. So trust the process. It's going to work out for you. I'm wishing you all a wonderful rest of your day. Please take care, and I'll see you next time. Bye.